Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be chronic illness health update. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos. Probably back in September, October, because the last time the first entry I have on my notes is for October. So, yeah. But I'm going to give a little bit of a recap of the last video if you don't want to go back and watch it, even though I will link it so you can. And then we're just going to kind of start with what's been going on since October. Okay, so to start with the recap, basically, since the last time I talked to you, we talked about I had a flare, how I was diagnosed with SIBO, like right after having the stomach flu, I got that diagnosis. I had some genetic testing to see what medications I was sensitive to. Basically, I learned I cannot take certain beta blockers, like metoprolol. I cannot do that. I also, if I ever need a statin, I can't take statin. And there was something else. I can't remember what it was. There was another thing I can't take because my body doesn't process it right. Then I was told by my cardiologist to go off the Mestinon. The original plan was week on each of the new doses, and then I would be weaned off. But he also gave me the permission, if I wanted to wean off slowly. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then we talked about me going off of my Protonics and being changed to Nexium, which we'll talk about that too. Okay, so starting in October was a whirlwind. I was having more GI issues. So in October I was finally starting to feel better after everything. I finally switched to we finally figured out that, that's what we figured out in the genetic testing, that certain stomach pills, acid reducers, all that stuff, I'm sensitive to and I cannot take. So, and Protonics was one of those. And I've been having issues with the Protonics for a while, so it was kind of more or less determined, we'll just take you off of it, we'll put you on the Nexium, and we'll try that. So I was finally doing better on that. We did some more blood work. My anemia was finally looking better. My iron wasn't as low as it had been. My ferritin was slowly dropping. And we kind of figured out a way, because I was severely anemic in July. And we kind of figured out, June and July. So we kind of figured, okay, this is what we're going to do. And it took us a while to get there, and it finally worked. The thing we were going to try actually worked. So I was extremely lucky. And I was basically told, okay, so follow up with me in 6 months. And that was by my primary care doctor, because he's the one who balances pretty much he pretty much balances everything, because I have specialists, but let's just be honest, they don't do a whole lot. So I was basically told, okay, this is what we're going to try. We're going to keep an eye on your anemia and come back in April. Unless you have promised me to come back sooner. I got really, really lucky this year. And, well, this winter. And I didn't end up having to go back to the doctor. But that didn't mean I wasn't having issues. By November, I had realized my periods were all messed up, and I was getting one and it would be really short, or I was getting one and it would be really heavy, or I just wasn't getting them like on a monthly. Like, I am typically pretty regular, 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks, and I was not doing that. It started in like November. And then in January, I started noticing I'm gaining weight. I'm typically about 110, 115 pounds. I sit like right there, typically closer to 110. I'm only 5'2", and that's not a big deal. And because of my POTS, I can't lift extremely heavy weights, so while I do like to work out and lift weights, I can't go very heavy or it sets off my POTS. So I was trying to figure out, what have I done that changed all this? Because I didn't really change my diet. Like, we all indulge a little bit more over the holidays, but nothing to cause me to realize by January, or nothing for me to realize by February that I had gained 12 pounds. I went from like 113 in October, and I was steady at that, and I was still at 113 in January, and by February I was 125. The only real thing that I'd actually noticed, besides my periods being all wonky, was that I was constipated. I have numerous GI issues. I have IBS, I have SIBO, I have what my doctor likes to call intermittent gastroparesis, and so on and so forth. So I was pretty much saying, okay, I'm extremely bloated, I'm constipated, that's got to be the weight gain. But finally I had enough, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to the doctor, or I'm at least going to do a video visit. And that was the only thing he had open. He had all these video visits open, but no in-person appointments until like March. And I'm thinking, no, that's not going to work. So I saw my doctor in February for a video visit, and he basically said, okay, so what are you doing? I hadn't changed anything. And I'd already started stool softeners. So he's like, okay, if that's not helping, we're going to put you on a laxative. Basically, I am on prescription grade Miralax. And then he said, follow up with your GI. And I was like, okay, because in 3 weeks I have an appointment with my GI doctor anyway. And the laxatives mixed with the Dopalax helped the constipation a little bit, not a whole lot, and it did not help the bloating at all. So by the time I got to my GI doctor, even with everything I was taking, I was constipated again. So the GI doctor thought, okay, well, you're on 40 milligrams of Nexium. let's cut you down to 20 milligrams. So he cut me down to 20 milligrams of Nexium, and he also said, okay, so we're going to double up on the Dulcolax, and we're going to double you up on the laxative. So instead of taking the laxative once a day, you're going to do it twice. And it took a couple of weeks, but I was finally moving again. My bowels were finally moving again. I was actually and then as soon as I started noticing, hey, this is helping, it wasn't helping again. So it was like, what? Like, something's going on here and something isn't right. But I messaged the doctor and he's like, okay, well, if it's not helping, then try backing off and then going back on. So that's what we did. I backed off for a little bit, and during my back off of this, by this point it's middle of March, and I'm going to the gynecologist because one of the not very fun things of being a woman, I don't find going to the gynecologist fun. I just don't. And if you do, good for you. I guess it's different if you're pregnant. Because my friend says when she's pregnant, she loves her GYN. When she's not pregnant, no. So I'm thinking, okay, so it's normal not to like them. But I had not been to like a GYN in 7 years. And that was because I went for a work physical in 2020, and the doctor there did a PAP and pelvic and all that, and I'm thinking, okay, well, over 3 years, so I don't need one. So I did that, and then I just got lucky enough to where I had a primary care doctor who could do them. So I was just kind of letting my primary care doctor do it. And then the rules switched that if you had a male primary care provider, they could no longer perform pap smears or pelvic exams. And I'm thinking, well, shit. Because now I actually have to find a GYN, and I'm due for a pap. And on top of that, it didn't help. Like, my periods were irregular anyway, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll go and I'll talk to him a little bit about that and everything, and we'll see. Of course, the first thing he says is, well, every now and then it's okay to be a little irregular. That's when you're consistently irregular for like 6 months. That's when we worry. So basically I was told, when it comes to missed periods and irregular periods, you can come back in the summer and we'll deal with it then. And I'm thinking, I really don't want to have to come back here if I don't have to. Because I was thinking he would say, okay, well, this has been going on for a while, so we'll do some testing and we'll figure something out. And he's either pushing birth control, which I have nothing against birth control, except for the fact that every time I take birth control, no matter what type it is, it makes me extremely freaking sick. I already have enough chronic illnesses. I don't need to be sick I don't need to be sick from a pill or something on top of it. But other than the pushing the birth control thing, which honestly is their job, and I get that, I do like this GYN because he does want to work with me, and he does want to work with my other doctors, with even with all of my illnesses. And a lot of times, even doctors that don't have anything to do with your chronic illness will not work with you because they don't want to have to possibly deal with your chronic illness. But this doctor actually wants to work with me, and I'm going to keep that because I've had GYNs before in the past tell me, you're just too anemic, I can't do this, I can't take you on as a patient because of your anemia. Or when I was, it's weird. So, at least I have a GYN that wants to work with me as well as all my doctors and all of my illnesses. So if I ever do have to go, so if I ever get pregnant and want to have a baby, or if I ever want to get pregnant and want to have a baby, or I do get pregnant and have a baby, I'm going to have a doctor that's actually willing to work with me. And right now, that's just a win because I don't know. I have a feeling that my cardiologist is probably about to fire me. And we're going to get into that now. So, like a week or two after I saw my gynecologist, I go to my cardiologist. Fun. Because I don't know. He doesn't really, I don't like him. But I don't like him because he makes it very apparent that he doesn't like me. And he doesn't like to put up with my issues. Like, I'm sorry that I have POTS and you just don't understand that. You just won't take the time to understand it. But that's what it kind of feels like. It's like he doesn't understand POTS and he doesn't want to, and because I'm not an old lady about to kill over, he doesn't care. Like, he gives me meds because the only kind of doctor who can actually prescribe the meds I need is cardiologist. But basically what we did was we upped my Metadrin and my propanolol to 3 times a day. I was doing it twice, and we talked about increasing the dose, but we'd kind of also discussed that every time I increase my dose of my propanolol, I end up having more issues. So it's just not worth it. So we agreed on, okay, so instead of increasing the dose of everything, we'll increase the number of times a day you take it. And basically that's to see if it helps with my chest pain and my dizziness. Because that's what's been going on lately, as well as swelling. Like my feet are swollen, my hands are swollen by the end of the night. It's just one of those things. And part of that could also be from constipation. According to my PCP, my body is trying to retain water more than normal, and swelling is how that shows. But my cardiologist had no interest in swelling because I wasn't swollen enough when I was there. It's just kind of funny what and then he keeps asking me, I can't tell if you like to be here or you don't like to be here. And I'm thinking, so I finally said, am I supposed to like being here? Because I just don't. I also don't like a doctor who, I'm all for a doctor knowing their patients and asking them stuff, but I don't care for a doctor who's all worried about what you're doing for fun that weekend or what you're doing for spring break. And that's what he was concerned about because spring break was coming up and he was going to the beach. And I'm thinking, good for you, you can go to the beach. And me and my brother went to a concert that weekend, but it's not. I don't know. He's all for, well, you have quality of life. And I'm thinking, what is quality of life if you can do one thing one day and then you have to spend the next how many days or weeks recovering. To me, that's not quality of life, and sometimes, and right now, that's where I'm at. If I go and do this fun thing today for the next 3 or 4 days, I'm not going to be able to do anything. And that's kind of what happened. Me and my brother went to a concert. We spent a couple of days at Norris Lake, and we came back on a Sunday night or a Sunday afternoon, and I spent the next week recovering. So yeah, even with the med changes and everything, it's just, my quality of life with my POTS is just weird. That, and as it gets warmer, things change, and that's what I really hate, because I'm gearing up for summer now, and that changes everything. So basically, other than changing my meds and giving me crap about not wanting to be there, cardiologist didn't do anything. No surprise. But in the process or in the waiting time between my cardiologist appointment and my primary care appointment or my physical, because I just always do my yearly physical and it's just easier. Go in, get it done. And that way I don't have to do it around my birthday, because that's when everybody's on vacation and when all the appointments are booked up because of school physicals and sports physicals and all that stuff. But in between that time, my swelling got worse. Like, ow, I'm sorry, my legs are asleep. Like, I spent, like, the short amount of time I had between those appointments, I had like 2 or 3 days where I could not wear shoes because my swelling was so bad in my feet. And even with compression socks, it did not matter. And every doctor I have seen, especially my cardiologist, well, your swelling, that's good, because in the summer you're going to want that swelling because you're going to want that extra water. And then it's just knowing everything from me being constipated and everything, it's like, what the heck? What do I really want? Do I want the swelling or do I not want it? So, yeah. Sometimes, honestly, with me, I'll gaslight myself because I've been gaslit so much. That's what I do. And then there's also just, sometimes I'm just so tired of everything, I don't care. And that's also kind of where I'm at. I'm at the point of I'm medically burnt out. And it's not because of the number of appointments I've had. It's not because of the number of times I have to take pills. It's just a combination of everything and me just not being... Usually it's when I'm tired. The medical burnout hits the worst when I am freaking tired and I just don't care. But of course, because I've been having so many issues and everything, I hadn't been able to sleep as well as I usually do, even with my sleeping meds. So that was part of it. But so beginning of April, I go to my primary care, have my yearly physical done, we go over everything that all my other doctors have done, and we go through all of my current issues and what I need my doctor to help me with. And basically, this whole focus on this appointment was abdominal pain, bloating, swelling, constipation, irregular periods, adrenaline dumps. If you are new here, I have POTS and I have adrenaline dumps. Like, it's basically like a panic attack, but it's not a panic attack. Like, out of nowhere, my body just completely goes into fight or flight. And the best way to describe it to somebody who doesn't understand an adrenaline dump is to explain like a panic attack. Except there's nothing leading up into it. But luckily for me, my primary care doctor is freaking amazing. I love him. Everybody talks about loving a doctor. I love my primary care doctor. Not in a creepy way, but in the way that, hey, he actually helps me. He wants to help me. And he knows what he's doing. So basically what we're doing was, he said, it was funny, he checked my abdomen and he said, "You're full of crap." Like, he could feel it. My entire abdomen was all messed up. He could feel the gas, he could feel the bloating, and then he's like, "You're full of crap." And he could feel the crap. He's like, "So this is what we're going to do." Even though, he's like, "You're going to double up on your Dopalax, you're going to double up on your laxative, and you're going to give it 3 or 4 weeks. And if you're not better in that 3 or 4 weeks, then you're going to call your GI doctor, and you're going to have him send you in prep. Like a colonoscopy prep, that kind of stuff." He's like, "That's the only thing that's going to clean you out, is a colonoscopy prep." So, right now, that's the plan for the constipation. He gave me hydroxyzine for my adrenaline dumps. It's usually used for anxiety disorders and panic attacks, and it's not addictive, and you can take it up to 3 times a day. It's like an as-needed anxiety pill. And he said, "This is either going to help you or not." And so far, so good. Knock on wood. I hope it keeps helping, because it has helped so far, and I'm actually being able to get some sleep if I'm waking up in the middle of the night with an adrenaline dump, or just in the middle of the day. If I have an adrenaline dump, I can take one of those, and it kind of calms my body. So that's always nice. Then, the funny thing about this appointment was, every time I go into the doctor, I have a urine test done. And of course, as somebody in her 30s, I'm still able to bear children. So every time I go in, they ask, "When was your last period?" They do the whole thing, and my periods have been all wacky. So it has been almost exactly 2 months since my last period. And they always run a pregnancy test anyway. Every time you have a urine sample done at the doctor's office, childbearing years, you have a pregnancy test done. So the doctor walks in and sits down, looks at what's been, because sometimes the urine results are like instant, within like 15-20 minutes. And he sits down and opens the computer and red flag on my urine. And he's thinking, and he said, okay, that's weird. And it says, pregnancy, positive. He goes, and he looks at me and goes, congratulations, you're pregnant. And I went, no, I am not. Like, and he goes, are you sure? And I said, well, I thought it was. So he stepped out, told the nurse, recheck her urine pregnancy. We'll just see. They use the color changing strips for, it's not like an actual pregnancy test, it's a color changing strip. And any type of hormone imbalance, any type of messed up thing in your urine can make that thing change colors. And all I can see is, if you watch Golden Girls, the episode where Blanche goes into menopause and she's wandering around screaming because she's pregnant and talking about the color on the test, that's all I could hear in my head. And I said, there's no way. I said, I just went to the gynecologist. If I was pregnant, I would know. And he goes, well, we'll run a blood test. So he does the blood test. And he said, we should know by tomorrow. But he's like, for right now, until we know for a fact that you're pregnant, we're not changing anything. And we just went on with the appointment and the exam like normal. But that was kind of like a shock to start an appointment. Because he was like, well, you've been constipated for how long now? So if you're pregnant, that explains that. And then we kind of talked about my anemia, and basically we determined I have allergies. Not horrible allergies, but allergies nonetheless. And we did some more blood work for my anemia. Like the whole anemia panel, like he does the whole anemia panel every 6 months anyway on me. But especially after being so bad anemic last summer, I get it done every time I go in there now. And so basically I'm on that, and he was thrilled about the weight gain. I did not expect my primary care doctor to be thrilled about me gaining weight, but he's like, I'm glad it's helping your blood pressure. This is best your blood pressure's been. And then he's looking at trends going, your blood pressure has been trending up for the last 3 appointments you've had. That's good. And I laughed and said, well, about an hour ago I took my meds. Because that's usually what increases my blood pressure. And he goes, no, your blood pressure would not increase like that and stay like that with the medication. It would increase for a little bit and then would kind of balance back out. So yeah, he's thrilled about the weight gain because it's helping my blood pressure. But then there's also the fact that how much of weight gain can be caused by bloating and gas and retaining water and constipation. Like, there's a whole so yeah. But other than him putting me on hydroxyzine, Nothing has changed. All the blood work came back normal, except for my cholesterol is a little bit high. Oh yeah, and I'm not pregnant. Like, he called me to give me my blood test results, and usually it's just on my chart. I got a call that morning, and he told me if I was pregnant he would call. So I saw the phone ring with his name on it, and I'm like, oh yeah. And I answered it, and goes, okay, well, first thing first, you're not pregnant. And I went, okay, good, and why are you on the phone? And he said, because I need to go over some of your blood work with you. And basically it was, you're not anemic, your ferritin has dropped to normal levels, and your iron is within normal range still. He said we're going to monitor it, because it seems like every time your ferritin, because from years past and all the blood work I had, it seems like every time my ferritin drops, my iron starts to drop. And my ferritin can be in normal levels, but my iron will freak out and drop and crash out. So we're going to monitor that. So right now I'm not anemic, but if I'm not careful, I will be. He also says your cholesterol is high. Not super duper high, but just high enough for him to go, hey, something's wrong with your cholesterol. And he goes, you can't take cholesterol meds with, your body just doesn't know how to process them, so you can't take cholesterol meds. So to manage your cholesterol, you need to actually watch your cholesterol and your saturated fats. He said, I know that's a lot dealing with, you have to still go through everything with your constipation, and now you have to add in allergy meds, and now you're adding in an anti-anxiety pill for adrenaline dumps and all that. He said, I know it's a lot, but this is what you're going to have to do. And then he says, well, we'll follow up as planned in 6 months. So I'll see you in October. So, yeah. That's kind of what's been going on the last 6 months. I gained weight. I can't shit. And my periods are all messed up. And I'm off the Mestinon since January. I've changed my cardiologist finally changed my meds up a little bit, and we're going into summer, so we'll see what the summer we'll see what the summer does to me, because that's always the fun thing. But that's going to be it for this chronic illness health update. If you have questions, please drop them in the comments. I will answer them. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you Monday for my next video. Bye-bye.